Hello, nerds! Nerds for humanity. Time for your nerd news roundup. Whatever the hell we're calling this this thing. Nerd nightly news. Nerd news wrap up. I don't know. What you let me know in the chat what you want me to call when I summarize news. But we've got three big stories. We have Israel and Gaza. We have Trump versus Biden in battleground states. And then we have John Fetterman on squatters and wokeism. So buckle up. Let's see if we can get through all three stories in 15 minutes or less. And as a reminder, this is unlike any news you get because I'm going to be drawing it from three diverse sources. The first one is the failing New York Times, as Donald Trump likes to call it, but I think they're actually doing pretty well. The second is the Wall Street Journal. I don't know if Donald Trump likes them or not. He probably doesn't. And then the third is Fox News, which I think Donald Trump used to like, but I don't know if he still likes it because I think he's still mad that they were giving DeSantis coverage. But sorry, Donnie. Them's the breaks. All right, let's get into the first story. Israel and Gaza, according to the New Jack City Times. Share screen. It's been a while, huh? Here it is. Okay, Israel withdraws troops from southern Gaza as war hits 6-month mark. Like, can we just talk about this for a second? That after the attack that occurred on October 7th, Netanyahu and the IDF have been bombing the daylights out of Gaza for 180 days. They have dropped an estimated 50,000 bombs on an area the size of Las Vegas. 50,000 bombs. Many, if not most, were either paid for or supplied by the United States of America. But let me go through the story and then I'll share my commentary. But as you can tell, I'm not happy about this. I feel like this is not good for Israel. It's not good for the Middle East, and it's definitely not good for America. But at any rate, the Israeli military said Sunday it has withdrawn a division of ground troops from the southern Gaza Strip. Israel has significantly reduced the number of troops in the past several months. Now the last group of Israeli soldiers has left to recuperate and prepare for future operations. Great. But Israel officials made clear that the army would stay in other parts of Gaza to preserve its freedom of action and ability to conduct precise intelligence-based operations. The drawdown about 4 months after Israel invaded southern Gaza raised questions about Israel's plans in the face of widespread calls for it to de-escalate. Word that Israel had withdrawn forces did little to calm Osama Asfour, 41, a resident of Khan Yunis, who has been sheltering in a tent. Since the start of the war, the army has returned to areas of Gaza that its forces had previously left, especially in the north. Given that reality, Mr. Asfour said he had no immediate plans to head back to his city. The military might say it left today, but they can come back tomorrow. I'm not going to go on an adventure with my life and my family's lives. So that's the New York Times basically reporting on God, look at the buildings. Jesus. Lot of death. This is an Israeli funeral. This is a Rafah neighborhood. This is a rally in Jerusalem. Ah, Jesus. Ugh. This is the World Central Kitchen drone outcome. Ugh. I don't know, guys. You know, for all that we've ugh, been critical of Biden, he did kind of call this. He did tell Netanyahu, do not do the same thing that the US did after 9/11 with Iraq. Um, yeah, this is just going to create a whole nother generation of Hamas. And then for the people that are like, oh, but there's still hostages. Yeah, there are. And you killed 30,000 Gazans. Like, how many more? Are you just going to keep bombing them until you get all your hostages back? Because you might kill 50,000 people to get 130 hostages. I don't think Netanyahu really wants to get those hostages back. I'm beginning to think he just wants to drag this out. Jesus Christ. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if this bomb was paid for by you and me, American taxpayers. And you got to wonder is are the extremists out there going to differentiate between the IDF and the United States foreign policy? Or are they going to blame us for what Netanyahu is doing? Uh, all right. Jesus. Let's not look at that anymore. Okay. So, yeah, I'm serious. I agree, Jackson. BB is just bad news, man. Bad news. Um, he's bad, dude. He's bad. And the worst thing is like, okay, so let me get on my soapbox for a second. I've heard people say, hey, Israel has a right to defend itself. Okay. Yes, definitely. And they were attacked on 10/7. But guess what? It's April 7, 2024 now. You've bombed the living daylights out of Gaza. You've dropped 50,000 bombs, probably killed 30,000 people. I think UN estimates are 14,000 children. So, yes, I get it. There were probably 2,000 Israelis that were killed, and there's a couple hundred hostages. I'm not sure that justifies 14,000 children. And if people are like, well, Hamas, it's Hamas's fault. It's like, okay, yeah. If someone robs a bank and then they run into a church, you don't bomb the church. Yeah. Okay. So that's the New York Times on Israel and Gaza. Let's go to Wall Street Journal on Trump v. Biden. Our second story of the night. Okay. Great news for Trump supporters. God, this just gets worse. Oh my God. Trump leads Biden in 6 of 7 swing states in the latest poll. Okay, now remember when all those Biden people were like, oh, don't worry about the October 2023 polls. Wait till it's early 24. Then you'll see once people pay attention, they'll obviously pick Biden over Trump. No, they are not. Here we are in April of 2024. Freaking like, oh my God. 7 months away from the election. Days till November. election. We have 211 days. 211 days until the election. And freaking Donald Trump is actually leading Biden in the most competitive states of the 2024 election in 6 of the 7. The poll of the election's battlegrounds show Trump holding leads of between 2 and 8 points in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. The one outlier is Wisconsin, where Biden leads by 3 points and where they're tied in a head-to-head matchup. So here's a visualization. You want the dark purple to be on the left-hand side if you're pro-Biden. But as you can see, in Arizona, Trump leads Biden 47-42. In Georgia, 44-43. Georgia, the state where Trump tried to find 10,000 votes. Okay? He's actually leading Biden. Michigan, 48-45. North Carolina, where Trump barely won last time, he's up by 6 points, 49-43. Nevada, 48-44. Pennsylvania, where Trump lost, is now up 47-44, and they're tied in Wisconsin. Biden pulled off a remarkable feat in 2020, winning Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Now he's losing in Pennsylvania, he's losing in Michigan, and he's tied in Wisconsin. And then he won by narrower margins in Georgia and Arizona. Georgia, he's losing. Arizona, he's losing. Whoa. Both campaigns will spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising and turnout in these 7 states. Negative views of the president's job performance outweigh positive views by 16 points or more, with the gap topping 20 points in 4 states. By contrast, Trump earns an unfavorable job review for his time in the White House in 1 state only, Arizona, where negative outweighs positive by 1 percentage point. Both carry a tarnished image into the race, but voters view Biden more unfavorably. Asked to choose which candidate has better physical and mental fitness, 48% picked Trump to 28% for Biden. He's also has declining support. Biden also has declining support among Black, Hispanic, and young voters. Oh, that shouldn't be a problem. It's not like the Democratic Party ever has to rely on Black, Hispanic, or young voters to win. Sarcasm. Jesus. For the president struggling to regain ground with voters, the poll offers several possibilities. Trump holds double-digit leads in every state when voters are asked who can best handle the economy. Double-digit leads in every single battleground state when voters are asked about inflation. Trump holds double-digit leads in every state when voters are asked about immigration. Biden is viewed as the preferable candidate on one issue, which is abortion. Between Trump and Biden, who is the best to handle each of the following? Economy, 34% say Biden, 54% Trump. Immigration, 32% say Biden, 52% Trump. Abortion, that's where Biden is ahead, 45-33. I mean, the fact that 33%, I guess so, they must be the pro-life people. Mental and physical fitness needed to be president. 28% think Biden is best able to have the mental and physical fitness, and 48% say Trump. Oh my God. Those who say the strength of the economy is not so good or poor. Now here's interesting. Everybody thinks the national economy is worse than their state's economy. So in Arizona, 64% say this national economy is terrible. but only 46% say Arizona is. Georgia, 38% think their state economy is bad, but 67 think the national economy, and so forth. And I can attest that this is true because I have a family member who is a big Fox News watcher, and she was this family member was telling me, "Oh, I'm so surprised that there are so many people at this restaurant that we're at in California." I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because of the terrible recession that California is in." I was like, "No, California's not in a recession, and neither is the U.S. The country we're growing. The economy's growing. We have an inflation problem. We don't have a recession problem." But I think the Trump affiliated media is very keen on telling the story about how the whole country, the economy is crap, even though GDP is up, stock market's up, unemployment's down, new jobs are being created. Like, I'm not a big Biden fan, but like, it is not entirely fair to say that the U.S. economy is in the dumps right now. It's actually pretty strong. However, prices are too high. That is for sure. So let's see. What else? Are there any other? Okay, here. Corinne Armstrong, a manager in the healthcare sector from Savannah, Georgia, remains uncommitted to Biden after backing him in 2020. She has ruled out voting for Trump. Being an African American and a woman, I think he spews a lot of hatred, and I don't see good coming from him. And she said her personal finances are fine. She just feels disappointed in the president. She wished that Biden had pressed for tougher gun control and that he had given Harris a more prominent role. I just feel like his age and everything behind that, he's just not as sharp as I'd like him to be for president, making bigger decisions. Quinn Corey of Milwaukee is also remaining uncommitted after backing Biden last time. She said she wouldn't vote for Trump, but she thinks Biden should be doing more to press for a ceasefire and rein in what she sees as price gouging by big corps. Yeah. Okay. By contrast, Mark Erickson, a retired tax accountant in Michigan, has ruled out backing Biden, saying the president has failed to stop illegal immigration and is misguided in pushing for electric cars, among other policies. If the 2024 election were held today, for whom would you vote? In Arizona, 39 Trump, 34 Biden, 13 RFK. Georgia, +3 for Trump, and looks like RFK might be in the 9s. Michigan, +2 for Trump. RFK is probably around 10 or 11. North Carolina, +8 for Trump. RFK is around 10. It's interesting. RFK is like in the double digits in probably 1, 2, 3 of the 7 states. Who's persuadable? If they think the economy is very good, then they 24% are persuadable. If they think the economy is not good, wait a minute. Persuadable voters are those who are undecided, pick a third party, or say they will vote for Trump is not definite. Okay. So voters most up for grabs view Biden, Trump, and the economy more unfavorable than do voters overall. Okay, so interesting. Huh. Overall, if they think the economy is bad, they're more persuadable. If they have unfavorable views of the two, of both, they're persuadable. If they're white or on the older side, they're persuadable. If they're Black, Hispanic, or on the younger side, they're a little bit less persuadable. All right. So that is like in summary, I think this chart here is probably the most interesting one. Uh, uh there it is. Here it is. This is it, guys. This is what's going to decide 2024. Ah, Trump is beating Biden despite being indicted like a million times, trying to overturn his loss last time, inciting a violent uprising, uh, encouraging a mob to try and hang his own vice president, and he's still ahead of Biden. Like, that just tells you how troubled a candidate Joe Biden is. I mean, how can you be losing to this guy? God help us. If only we had a real primary and he had a generic Democrat from the Midwest. Looking at you, Dean Phillips. By the way, if anybody's talking to Dean Phillips, I am trying to get him on the Nerd Show. Be good to do a little retrospective. So if you have any ins with Congressman Phillips, please ask him to come to the Nerd Zone. Okay, last story of the day is John Fetterman. This is Fox News. So where else are you going to get your news from? Three sources: the left-leaning New York Times, the right-leaning Wall Street Journal, and the, I don't know what you would call Fox News, orange-leaning Fox News. So Fox unloads on squatters, says they have no rights. I am not woke. Fetterman sounded off on squatters during a recent interview, questioning how they had a right to occupy another person's home. During an interview with New York Post, said squatters have no rights. Squatters have no rights. How can you even pretend that this is anything other than just breaking the law? Fetterman also told the Post, I am not woke. It's wild that if you go away for a long trip for 30 days and someone breaks in your home, suddenly they have rights. This is crazy. Like if someone stole your car and held it for 30 days, then somehow now you have some rights. Oh, well, so I think most, I would imagine most people would agree that squatters shouldn't have the right to stay in a home they don't own. I think what's interesting about this story is that this headline makes, and the term woke is being weaponized. And so I know, because I have MAGA family members who keep using the term, oh, woke, woke this, woke that. So it's becoming almost like a slur. And they're doing a very good job, I will say. The MAGA media is doing a very good job of kind of tying the term woke to the entire Democratic Party. And, I think there's probably plenty of times where the Democratic Party goes too far. But to say that the whole party I don't even want to use a term because I don't even know what it means anymore. It used to be a good thing, which is like, I am awakened and aware of institutional racism and the history of oppressed groups getting kind of the shaft, which is true. And now it's turned into like, oh, well, you must be for allowing anyone to break into your home and live there indefinitely. So I have to say kudos to the MAGA media, because they're very good at painting the Democratic Party with a very broad brush. So that's it for the three stories. So we covered Israel and Gaza. Israel saying they're pulling some troops out of the south, in order to rest and recuperate and prepare for their next mission. And then I went on a rant saying, I don't want American tax dollars to be paying for any more freaking bombs that are being dropped on Gaza. Like, this is out of control. How many more people do you need to kill? Like, this is ridiculous. Then we covered how basically Trump is beating Biden like a drum in the 7 most important states for the election. He's tying Biden is tying Trump in Wisconsin, but the other 6 he's losing. He's losing to a very flawed, orange, crazy person. Great job, Joe. And then we talked about Fetterman making a headline on Fox News for being against squatters being able to occupy people's homes, which I would imagine if you polled all Americans, and even if you just polled Democrats, the majority would say, like, no, squatters should not have rights. But Fox is doing a good job making it seem like every freaking Democrat is for squatters. Okay. We're going to do shout outs to members, and then I'm going to do maybe we'll look at the betting odds for the gamblers on who they think is going to be president as of right now. So let's start with the shout outs to the people who make this channel possible. Honestly, I don't think I would be doing this content if it weren't for my members, because I feel like you guys are sending me a signal that you value this stuff. And, it's not the biggest channel in the world, but the fact is that we do have members, and the more members we get, the more content we'll produce. But let's start with our most supportive member. Let's see if he's still a member. Oh, he's still a member. Thank Jesus. It's my little nightmare, Soldier One, that one of these days you're gonna be like, I don't want this nerd content anymore. All right, but for now you're down. Soldier One, biggest supporter. If you're watching this on YouTube, just click the join button, and membership starts at $1.99 a month. It goes towards streaming software, podcast hosting. So if you ever listen to podcasts, like when you're driving or cleaning or whatever, just subscribe. Nerds for Humanity. At the vice president level, we have Kristen Slevin and Bike. Kristen's been with us for 51 months. Bike for 41 months. Okay, hardcore, Gene, David, DK, Jackalego, Mr. History, Mona, Vaughn, Yang, Dean, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Dana, Jason, Daniel, Mickey, Yoda, Jackson, Unkiyu, and Bobby. And then here are our verified entry-level nerds, only $1.99 a month. I will start with the oldest ones. Oh, I normally don't call them out, but I think Brandon got a new little avatar. I don't remember Brandon David having that avatar before. Brandon, so yeah, I'm going to scroll through so you can see all of our amazing verified nerds. Only $1.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. These are all amazing people. All right. So we said we were going to... All right, so we're going to go do election betting odds, and we'll wrap it up. Oh, we have 63 concurrents. I think this would be one of our most popular live streams in a while. All right, cool. Welcome, nerds. All right, let's get some music going. Okay, this is some bonus content. This is not the news. Bonus content. Who do gamblers think is going to win? Ooh, okay. It's tied, according to the gamblers. In the last week, 44.6 for Biden, 44.4 for Trump. So I guess gamblers are giving them a even Steven. As you can see here, Biden used to be, actually, as recently as March of this year, he was only 32% chance. So I guess maybe it was the State of the Union. I mean, he's been on a nice steady growth, and then he's kind of flattened out. Let's see, in the last week. Yeah, last week is still okay. So there you go. That's so it kind of is a counterpoint to the Wall Street Journal polling showing that Trump was beating Biden in all these critical states, gamblers seem to think that it's a coin flip. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a sad commentary that we're celebrating a coin flip. But here we are. So let me know in the comments below what you think of any of the three things. And then I'm going to call out some live chat comments in a second. And also in the live chat, let me know what you think. Like, I am so ready to, I think I'm going to call my senators tomorrow and tell them that I don't want any more military aid going to Israel as long as there is continued bombing of Gaza. If there's responses to attacks from Gaza into Israel, totally fine. Go for it. But 50,000 bombs over 6 months in an area the size of Las Vegas, incessant bombing, even killing 200 humanitarian aid workers, Netanyahu's like lost his shit. And again, it's bad for Israel because they're basically manufacturing a whole new generation of Hamas. I mean, seriously, if your parents were killed by these bombs, like, you're not going to have a lot of love for the IDF. But also, it's going to implicate the U.S. because people will say, hey, where did the Israelis get all these bombs? Where did they get all this military aid? Why did the U.S. veto multiple ceasefire resolutions by the UN? Like, so it's going to increase the risk to Americans. And I would argue most Americans are not in favor of the Netanyahu policy, but somehow Congress is like afraid to push back on him. And credit to Chuck Schumer for calling BS on Netanyahu. So that was good. All right, let's see some comments and then we'll wrap it up. Oh, Vaughn is saying that Fetterman is great. I'm not a huge Fetterman fan. He doesn't strike me as super smart. And I think he's like mega pro Netanyahu. I think he does not question anything that Israel is doing. And to me, it's like, come on, man. Like, you could be for Israel, but not for the Netanyahu bombing of Gaza for 6 months. Hey, Nicholas, let's go. Yes, you were in early. We had some Yang Gang. Yang Gang. Hello, Jeremy. Hello, Jackson. Hello, Yoda. Biden dropped a lot of money for some ads that went unheard. I think people were on it. Yeah. I don't know. The only way I think Biden can persuade people is by putting himself out there. Well, I think, look, if it were up to me, which it is not, but if it were up to me, I would do three things if I were Joe Biden. Number one, I would get control of the southern border. Yes, I get it that the Republicans blocked the last immigration deal, but Biden still has some executive authority to probably tighten up that border. I mean, it's completely being abused right now by not just people from the southern hemisphere, or South America or Central America, but like from all over, like Africa, China, Russia. Like, it's the southern border is like being abused by tons and tons of people who are not all fleeing persecution. So number one, if Biden wanted to win, like, just get control of the border. Like, don't. Oh, look at that. Apple. I'm saying Biden's not doing a good job on the border. Yeah. So that's the first thing. The second thing he needs to do is tell Netanyahu to knock it off and hold the man accountable by if you tell someone, hey, can you stop bombing the crap out of Gaza? And then the next day You're like, hey, we got some new F-15s or whatever ready to send over to you, or F-18s. I don't know what the hell we're saying, but like billions of dollars of more bombs. Like, what do you think Netanyahu's going to say? He's like, oh, okay, whatever. So you got to get tougher on Netanyahu and basically have conditions attached to this military aid that we're giving. If it's Iron Dome, no problem. Missile defense, no problem. Air defense, no problem. But if it's 2,000-pound dumb bombs that you're dropping in small neighborhoods, like, problem. That is no bueno. So that's number 2 that Biden could do. If he did more to secure the border, had a more balanced policy to push back on Netanyahu, which includes holding back on military aid until our conditions are met. And then number 3, he's got to be out there. And yes, the State of the Union was great, but he's got to do some more campaign events and be visible and accessible and do some freaking town halls. So that's my advice to Biden. I'm sure he'll take it. Let's see. Yoda, when Gaza started, I watched on YouTube Life Before the War. Very interesting. Let me know what was interesting about it, Yoda. Suburban white is, yeah, well, here's the thing. A lot of suburban whites care about the border. A lot of suburban whites are not down with like the flattening of Gaza. The one good thing that Biden has going for him is a lot of suburban whites are pro-choice, and I think that one you have to give to Biden, but that's kind of a given. Jackson thinks that it'll come down to women and young people. Yeah, women could be huge. So, I mean, in some ways, the whole overturning of Roe saved Biden's butt. Was terrible for freedom and women's choices, but kind of, if Biden didn't have the abortion thing to run on, like, what would he be running on? He's not going to run on the economy because people are pissed about high prices. He's not going to run on foreign policy because they're not happy about Gaza, and he's not going to run on immigration. Like, what the hell would he run on? That he's not Trump, basically. I did not see the interview Trump did with the Israeli press. What was that? Interview Trump with Israeli press. Shocked. Ooh. Interesting. I'll share that. So it looks like Trump calls for Israel to wrap it up. My God. Am I actually agreeing with Trump on something? Both U.S. candidates, Biden and Trump, are turning their rhetorical backs on Israel. Trump told interviewers that Israel was losing support for its Gaza assault. That is true. That the images of devastation were bad for Israel's global image, and yet Netanyahu should end his war soon. You have to finish up your war. You have to get it done. We have to get to peace. We can't have this going on. The statement apparently troubled Mr. Kahane even more than Mr. Biden's warnings to Israel. Biden has called for a 6-week ceasefire. In interview excerpts released by Israel Hayam, Mr. Trump did not qualify his call for Israel to finish up by insisting on the release of hostages. He effectively bypassed Biden from the left when he expressed his willingness to stop the war and get back to being the great country you once were. There's no way to beautify, minimize, or cover up that problematic message. So, wow. Could Trump somehow be trying to play both sides? Because historically, the Republicans have been like mega supportive of Israel. But with Trump, nothing. You can't put anything past that guy. Interesting. Yeah, and Trump is pulling ahead. I mean, maybe he sees that weakness and he's trying to say, "Hey, look, I'm pro-Israel, but I think they've gone too far," and he's actually going to the left of Biden. Wow, he's a sneaky guy. Trump is still loyal to Israel, supports it, but also warns you have lost the support you had. And in this case, Trump is right. Israel's standing in the international community has really taken a hit, and I think in the U.S., it's caused a lot of American voters to say, well, why is Israel getting whatever $3-4 billion a year? Maybe that should go to West Virginia. Why is it all going to one place? Vaughn, who is voting for RFK here? It's tempting, especially for me, because I'm in California. So I know California's electoral college votes are going to go to Biden. So if I voted for a third party, I could kind of try and send a message to the Democratic Party that I'm not happy. But I think, the one thing is the problem is RFK is also pro-Israel, pro Netanyahu. So there is no, of the three, there's no one that's pro-Israel but anti-Netanyahu. Who is that? I don't know who that is. That might have been Dean Phillips, but he's obviously not the nominee. Ooh, Vaughn, you're in Georgia. Bruh, your vote actually counts. Mine doesn't really count. You're in Georgia. Wow. And you're leaning RFK. That's not a good thing for Joe Biden. Yeah, RFK, I agree. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's pro Netanyahu. There's not, I don't think he's a great communicator. It's not his fault, but his voice is very hard to understand. Not blown away by his VP choice. So there's not a lot to love about RFK, but there is a strong desire by a lot of us to give the bird to the two parties. I didn't like what the Democratic Party did to Bernie. And frankly, I didn't like how initially the Democratic Party was telling Obama to kind of sit down back in 2007. So there's not a, so I'm not really obviously with this primary, I thought that the renomination of Biden, given all of his weaknesses, just crazy. Okay. Was the polling pre-State of the Union? No, that Wall Street Journal polling that I called out was freaking, when the hell was it? The article was published just a few days ago. So it was definitely conducted March 17th to March 24th. Okay, when was this? When was the State of the Union? State of the Union was March 7th. So this was after the State of the Union, March 17th. So the fact that Biden is still losing after pretty much crushing his State of the Union is very concerning. But great question, Jackson. Yeah, Yoda is hey, maybe we stop sending our money to Israeli military and start trying to house the people we have. Do you still think that Dems will pull? No, I don't. I wish they would, especially Gretchen Whitmer, a Whitmer-Booker combo. Woo! That would be a freaking landslide. But no, I think because Biden had such a good State of the Union, he's kind of squashed all of the whispering. Now, between now and August, if he has a major stumble, figuratively or literally, then people will start to ask again. But I think if Biden just stays out of sight, he might just kind of lock up the nomination, and I guess the Democratic Party will have to. Actually, will it be a contested primary in 28, or will, if Biden won, would Vice President Harris be like the front runner? I don't know. Let's see. Yoda is also in Georgia. Retired former New Yorker. Yeah. I hear a lot of people moving Georgia. North Carolina, too. Earl J. Kale is saying, I'm not exactly an RFK, but I'd rather vote for him over Biden or Trump. I also live in Washington. Oh, yeah, there you go. Washington State. Go Hawks. Yeah. So if you're in a blue state, why not just send a signal? Because there's like no chance that RFK is going to win. But you could kind of like scare the bejesus out of both parties if RFK got some record popular vote. That'd be interesting. Jeremy saying, I disagree. Yeah, why is he so freaking hardcore on Netanyahu? I don't understand. Like, RFK is always talking about being against like excessive wars, but he's okay with like 50,000 bombs dropped on an area the size of Las Vegas that has killed over 30,000 people, including 14,000 children. I think that's probably killed more children than like the measles vaccine. I don't know. I'm probably gonna regret saying that now. All the fucking it's getting late. I just swore. Sorry, guys. All the anti-vax people are gonna come after me saying no, the measles vaccine. Well, let's just fact check myself. How many children die of the measles vaccine? This is all the people that died from measles. Yeah, maybe there aren't that many people that died from the measles vaccine. So that would be an argument that to RFK, like, hey, I know you're all concerned about vaccines, but 2,000-pound bombs also kill children. All right. Well, I think that's it. Hey, 90 concurrents. If you guys weren't able to click join and become a member, the next best thing you can do for me and for our nerddom is to like. Come on, Apple. Give it to me. There you go. And share. I don't know. What is share? It's got that little right arrow on iOS. I don't know. Like and share, and then comment. And then hopefully we'll feed the algorithm what it wants to promote this channel more. All right, folks. See you next time. And if you like these nerd nightly news things, I'll try and do more of them, especially since 91 people showed up for this one. But let me know in the comments. I'm thinking maybe I'll do them once a week. But let me know what you think. All right, guys.